the fire drill. I felt really bad coming outside and seeing you all there, having left everybody in City Hall. Not, I understand we didn't do too well, but I hope we will improve. Okay, I'm here to answer any questions.
Mayor, the president yesterday, or last night, essentially threatened Chicago that he was going to send in the feds if they don't get
the crime rate down.
Have you got any indication of that kind of strategy that as it would pertain to Baltimore?
No, I haven't, but I can tell you that the police commissioner asked for the DEA to come in. I believe he asked for the FBI as well. We might want to check with him on that, and we did not get the FBI to come in, but we might want to check that to make sure. But I'm almost certain when we talked about crime reduction with the commissioner that he was asking for federal help. But we need to check it out.
I think the National Guard was mentioned.
Ooh, I didn't hear that part, Jane.
Madam Mayor, with the 24 homicides in January so far, I mean,
it's scary.
What's happening?
Well, you all know that my head was deep into the DOJ piece for, my first 30 some odd days here. I can tell you that we are meeting with the police department early next week to talk about our strategy. We know that some of the things that we're asking in the DOJ report are significant and important. But I tell you, I have to give this message to the community that, this is not about just policing. It's about community. When you think about people walking into a barbershop in the early part of the day, just shooting somebody point blank. I mean, this is like slaying people. We've got to get a handle on guns in our city, but there's something terribly wrong going on in our communities that people feel that it's okay to pick up a gun, shoot people, and kill people. The number of, and I want to say this clearly, the number of African Americans who are dying on the streets of our city at the hands of other folk is serious. And so it begs a discussion, not just with the community. And I spoke to a member of our ministerial community last night, and I said, I've got to bring you all together. We've got to come to some type of community solution that gets people understanding the value of life. When I talked to the business community on yesterday morning, and I told them that we've got some major problems in our city, but how we change the cultural behavior of our children, to me, is really important. And I've even said this to them: it's not enough for them to participate in our Youth Works program by just giving us money. And just to let you all know a little bit about how old I am, I reiterated a story to them of when I covered the Miami riots. Once was a reporter. And I said, the thing that grabbed me most during the Miami riots was not the burned out buildings. It was the 11-year-old boy who was standing beside me. And when I looked down at him, he said, "We have no place to work now." And that's why I said to the business community, many of these young people inside of our neighborhoods don't see outside the 4 square block radius in which they live. And if we don't show them better ways of life, if we don't invite them into our companies and our corporations, if we're not going out to the schools, if we're not recruiting them into programs that will better help them to become great citizens of our city, if we don't get the police interacting with our young people at the level that they understand the importance of life, because for some reason it's almost like we think we're watching TV, that we shoot somebody and they get up to star in the show tomorrow. That's not what's happening on our streets. It's certainly not what's happening in many urban environments in our city. And so I say to the spiritual community, to our community leaders, to individual citizens, that we've got to get a handle on this. I mean, this is outrageous to me. The number of people who died, and I'm not talking about through fires, I'm talking about through gun shots and wounds, that we're killing our own people in our own streets. We've got a problem. And as I said, we're going to be meeting with the police department. And Jane, I think we do need to check out whether they ask for FBI intervention.
And Madam Mayor, I know you mentioned, I think last month, about lights and kind of expanding lights throughout the city. Where does that program
We're going to start with the demonstration project. And I've asked in the demonstration project that we start with Pennsylvania Avenue and Charles Street as an example. I tell people that when I leave City Hall, I don't take 83, I ride through various parts of the city so I can get a real feel for what's going on in the city. And I can tell you, if you're riding up Charles Street, and I challenge you all to do the same, that when you get to the BP station, it goes dark. And then from there up until around 23rd, I think 24th Street, it's dark. And then as you head towards Johns Hopkins, it starts to light up again. We need to light up our city. Pennsylvania Avenue is dark. And when you think about coming up by Pennsylvania and North Avenue, it's dark. You got a library there that community people utilize, seniors even walk across the street. So that's why I'm asking that the demonstration project on the lights begin on Pennsylvania Avenue and on Charles Street as a demonstration of what we need to be doing to light up our city. And you know I'm not talking about those big shiny police lights that shine in people. No, I'm talking about lights that make sidewalks walkable.
Mayor, you're talking about streets and it segue to the Department of Transportation. And I wondered if you could talk about that a little bit. I know you're searching for
Yes, we are.
director. People are, I just wonder if you're aware of the level of discontent and concern among the public. You know, is there anything really going to change? You have the Hartford Road Bridge project dragging on.
Well, I think we just...
Avenue, you know, the bus Greyhound terminal. There are a lot of issues.
And that's one of our priority positions. We've got, I think, about 90 applications from across the country. We're starting to vet those. We'll start vetting those very soon. We've got some tremendous transportation problems in the city. I mean, not just the link system, making sure that it goes where it needs to go. The fact that, you know, we lost the federal dollars as it relates to the light rail.
What's your sense of where it's gone wrong over the years?
I don't really have a sense of where it's gone wrong over the years. All I know is that it's not working. You know, what we have now doesn't work. The fact that we lost that money certainly doesn't bode well for the city. Jobs lost. But, you know, that's one of the things, you know, I think you all knew last week we were deemed a Bloomberg city so that we can bring some more experts in here as well. We've got some smart people in Baltimore, but we want to look at best practices. When I was over at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I had a chance just briefly to talk to the outgoing secretary who wanted to do some things for the city before he was able to leave, but as you well know, much of the money has been frozen. Part of it, I think, is our responsibility to go over there and try to shake those dollars loose at the federal level. And I'm in...
I think there's a concern that the problem is here in Baltimore.
Well, problem in terms of who is leading the transportation department, problem in terms of who we have inside the police, inside the transportation department, I would agree with you. And we can't fix it fast enough. But you know, we have some experts, I believe, on our staff now. The former Secretary of Transportation, Jim Smith, is with us. We're taking a really deep dive into these areas. As you well know, I mean, I take all of this very seriously as I looked at the water department and some of the things that, you know, that still need to be fixed. And when I think about the federal mandate that we're under, we're trying to figure out where can some of this money come from? You know, it's not just going to be federal. Yesterday I was speaking over in Crystal City and was on a panel talking about infrastructure needs of cities, and found someone else that we can talk to. I think it's the Kresge Foundation who's going to be investing in infrastructure. I mean, I don't know that we've reached out to the extent that we can. I don't know that we've said to the private sector how much our needs are. And I don't know that we've galvanized over the years the importance of smart people, right people, and money being in place so that we can solve some of these problems.
Yeah, cost overruns.
Look, I can tell you, on the BOE, for example, the Board of Estimates, we have a pre-meeting I do, for me, just so that I can understand contracts that become before the Board of Estimates. And as I said to you all on my first day, I was told page 1 through 20 is routine. Nothing is routine for me. You know, the automatic pen, we're going to set a bonfire. Well, I don't think they'll let me do it out in front of City Hall, but there are no automatic signatures here anymore because I'm trying to understand everything that we do, this whole bidding process, this pre-qualification process that I've said oftentimes to Mr. Chow. In fact, I think I'm scheduled to go over there sometime next week because I said I need to look at this process because to me, I think you're disqualifying people because if I got a $5 million contract and you tell me I'm only qualified to do $2.5 million, perhaps I can do that $5 million contract because I have a relationship with the bank. So all of this stuff requires a deep dive, in my opinion.
Mayor, the president is also apparently going to sign his wall executive order today. First of all, I'd like just to ask you a response to that, although we're not a border jurisdiction and border state. But the other thing that may come with that is a crackdown, so to speak, on sanctuary cities. What is the policy of your administration as it pertains to illegal immigrants who live in the city of Baltimore?
Yeah, my conversation with the police department is that we don't walk around asking people where they're from. That's just not our policy. We don't do that. What we want to do is help people become productive members of our community, and to the extent that we can, we will. So I've been assured by the police department we don't do that. We're a welcoming city. We want everybody here. We want to be able to provide opportunities and jobs and careers for folks. That's where we are in Baltimore. The wall situation, I guess when you campaign on something like that, you try to figure out how to get it done. I don't think that it bodes well for the United States of America. When we think about, all of us in some ways are immigrants. Some of us came as slaves, some came from other countries and so forth. We're people from everywhere. The Statue of Liberty says, bring me, you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor. We're supposed to be a welcoming country, and that's what we're going to be in Baltimore.
Part of that is the detainer policy. When someone is arrested for whatever, and they get taken to a holding facility. Some cities have said they will not detain for the purpose of customs, etc., and customs enforcement.
That's not our policy. We won't.
What is your policy?
As far as I know, we don't detain, and my conversation with the police commissioner is that we don't detain as well.
In our corrections facility, including our holding, is state run. We don't make decisions based on the police department. They actually hold them there, but it's actually run by the state.
Right,
so it's not a function of the city.
So the city doesn't have that control?
No.
No.
No, ma'am.
We can talk about that later.
Okay, please do.
Mayor, can you talk about your campaign donations?
I don't talk about campaigns here. We released a statement. We did everything by the book, as you well know. Our campaign report was public and open to scrutiny for anybody who wants to scrutinize.
Madam Mayor, in regards to what you said earlier in regards to having a conversation within the Black community about the violence, your predecessor tried to push for that a couple of years ago, and I wanted to know, not so much the ministers or the community organizers, because they seem willing to have that conversation.
But our conversation would be broad. It's young people. It's with people who are on our streets of our communities, folks who really want, and I think, again, part of our problem is the fact that we have a high unemployment rate in our city. Part of our problem is that we have too many guns on our streets. And, we have legislation that is being pushed through Annapolis, trying to toughen up on these gun laws, and we'll continue to do that.
But how do you bring the people to the table, though? Because this seems to be a tough conversation.
I asked them. I mean, I can't drag them. I can ask them.
But people have been asking for a while now.
I don't know if people have been asking for a while. You asking me what I can do? Okay,
That's right.
I haven't. There's not anybody that I've asked to come to the table that hasn't.
Mayor, I believe the hearing before the federal judge and the consent decree has been delayed, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you concerned about that? And I guess you were supposed to appear at that. Are you still planning? Is that still going to happen? Are you concerned about the delay? The fact that the Trump administration seems to be delaying the process.
Well, I can say that we got it there, and I'm not as much concerned that it's delayed. I think that the delay will end, and I think that we will continue to move forward. We're committed to the consent decree. Everything that's in that consent decree we believe in, and I think we work with communities, we work with advocates. I think our team negotiated fairly in this process, and I believe in everything that's in that consent decree. So, I mean, we're not waiting for them to do what they need to do. When I was in Annapolis on yesterday, I asked the governor to look at putting some additional monies in the budget for the DOJ. We are looking at other resources currently. We've already put some money in the budget for the consent decree, so we intend to move forward.
Speaking of that, your Annapolis, your push to reform to get the civilians on the trial boards, what do you think, going
Well,
to Annapolis, what's sort of the reception of that, and what do you think that going forward that has a chance of passing?
Well, let me just say that we're meeting with the FOP beginning today, and so, that is going to be a part of their
Did
negotiations.
they finally call me back?
Yeah, they call me back. Yeah. Nice conversation. Actually, I had a meeting here with Gene.
When did that?
What was that, last?
Monday.
Last
So
Monday.
what happened during the meeting?
Oh, I said the same thing. We want to get to the table. We got some issues that we would need to discuss, but more importantly, I need to get an agreement with you all. I need you to understand how important you are to our communities, but more importantly, how important the community feels you are and how important I feel you are. But at the same time, everybody knows that having civilians on our trial boards is important. And we will discuss that along with some other areas that
What
I'm
did he say
concerned
about
with.
that?
He's looking forward to sitting down.
So he hasn't committed either way?
No, but he was smiling.
It's not- So did he say flat out, no, we're
No,
fighting?
did not
So
say.
he didn't commit either way?
No.
Mayor,
Okay.
on Monday, the city council put in a resolution asking the state to provide troopers on Interstate 83. And do you have a position on that yet? No?
If they can get that done, so be it. We want police on our street. So I'm with, getting as many officers, as you well know. We unfroze the 200 positions. We got 87 folks coming out of the academy. We're looking at high and low for police officers in our department currently, people who are doing other duties to be on our streets. So, welcome.
Can you tell us how much you asked the governor for the consent decree reform?
We asked for $2 million in the capital budget for some of the hardware.
Madam Mayor, going back to immigration, what's the possibility of police not asking people their status in terms of immigration, that they're overlooking potential violent criminals?
I don't know what that potential is. I think that's a discussion you should have with the police commissioner.
And then one more question about the loan. I know you said you didn't want to discuss campaign finances, but is there any explanation you'd like to provide about why this occurred or why the state prosecutor's looking into it?
Well, I think they've been looking into it. I think they're scrubbing our campaign finance report, and I said earlier, I've never had a campaign this large in terms of monies that were raised. I had a campaign finance committee. My understanding is they dotted all I's and crossed all T's and asked the questions of the state in terms of what we could and could not do as it relates to loans that were borrowed. All have been paid back. We did what we were supposed to do, and I think what was also said is that we didn't do anything wrong. We did what we were supposed to do.
But this is now the second court case that they brought. Are you concerned they're just digging and looking for things within your...
I don't know that it's a court case as much as it is an opinion as to how they reviewed the campaign report.
There's a $3,000 fine and citation.
Yes. Not for us, not for our campaign.
It wasn't the Pugh campaign that was fine.
Right, but it's associated with your campaign because they were long-term donations in each of these other cases.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a campaign finance report. It's open to the public. As I said, everything is out there in the public's eye.
Going back to your meeting with Lieutenant Ryan, did anything come up in regards to what they've said that has...
So you all know that we are in negotiations with the police department.
Yeah, I mean,
She's not going to characterize...
And let me just say, I'm walking into the door with Gene Ryan with a smile on my face and expecting the same smile that he left City Hall with on last Monday and sitting down and beginning our negotiations. I'm excited about that. I hope that we can come to agreements on the areas that I'm concerned about, especially around the trial boards.
Well, to be fair, you have the smile. The FOP Twitter account has the frown.
I don't know what they have. He was smiling when he left my office.
Anything else, folks?
That's all I got.
Thank you.
I just add one thing. I mean, I did a story last week. You weren't here when this deal was approved, which is the memorandum of agreement that has 2 Baltimore City police detectives working in Anne Arundel County in return for the police spokesperson to work in Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of that memorandum? Have you looked at it? What do you think of a deal like that?
Well, I haven't completely reviewed it. I just got informed about it. And so I'll have my legal department brief me on it, as well as the police department, so I can get an understanding. I know that this was a deal that was made before I got here.
Madam Mayor, have you looked over the recommendations yet from your transition team?
A lot of recommendations. I got a briefing yesterday for about an hour and a half a lot of good recommendations. Folks really took a deep dive into the areas of concern. So I will take that along with many of the other suggestions that we're getting, because we did have a website asking people to, submit information that they thought we should be addressing. We are looking at best practices around the country. And last week I attended the U.S. Conference of Mayors and learned a lot of things that I think will be exciting for Baltimore in the future.
Was there one thing that stood out to you that you'd like?
The Treasury Department, the amount of funds that are available through the Treasury Department that I was totally unaware of. Oftentimes when we think housing, we think everything comes from HUD, and that's not, in fact, true.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.